LCARA Ham Radio presents a Time Machine Tuesday vintage video release.
Welcome to Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association. You can find us at LCARA.net, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. If you're enjoying the videos we're producing here at LCARA, please help our club out by hitting that subscribe button. Also, give us some feedback on our videos. Click the like button, share with anybody who may find it interesting, and be sure and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified of the next video release. Hello folks, this is Chris, KY4CKP, and this week's video we're going to be doing a simple little build project using a Raspberry Pi model 3B. This is a slightly older model, but this was donated by one of our club members, Clyde. We appreciate it donating this to us. They're not very expensive, but it was nice. Clyde in for DFQ. And we've had this for a few weeks now, and I've just kind of had it sitting on my desk, and I've been looking at it and thinking about it. I didn't know a whole lot about these initially. Working in the IT field myself, and I know Brian, KY4BDP. I've always been interested in these kinds of things. They've been out for a few years, of course. Arduino and Raspberry Pis and things like this. Great little inexpensive little kit computers that you can do things with, and of course they've been getting stronger and stuff with the newer generations. And so we got gifted this board, and I've just been trying to think about what could we use it for in the area of amateur radio, and what kind of a project could we do with it, at least initially anyway, and explored a few options. It's a slightly older model, so it's a little bit slower, a little bit less RAM. That's one thing you can get with the newer version 4 model. You can get up to 4 gigs of RAM on those. But this one, it's got some decent capabilities, and there is a ton of projects you can do with these things. A lot of folks have done, all kinds of projects. But let's scroll down for a second. We'll just look at the specs for a minute, and then we'll jump over and talk about the little project that I decided to do with this. I'd say at least for now. So quad core, a gig of RAM. The onboard hardwired networking is 10100, so a little bit older, a little bit slower. It will get you, online, but the wireless is pretty much fine. Once you get that going, then you've got reasonable speed there. It's got all the GPIO pins, the 40 pins there, and USB ports, and full-size HDMI, and there's a ton of stuff and lots of accessories and things you can get with this. Now, the one thing I did find out is I was just connecting a USB cable to this from a powered hub, and it would power the unit, but I was getting the power warning, especially if I was trying to do very much with this, getting the little power warning indicator that comes up. It just wasn't quite enough, or maybe strong enough, stable enough power through that. So I did order a dedicated 2.5 amp, as you can see there on the bottom line item, 2.5 amp hour or amp power supply for this, and I haven't had that issue once I did that. And I got a few more things, as we'll see, and we've got some more cables and things coming to help kind of clean up this little project and little build that we've done. And the main goal of this was to just try to figure out something interesting that we could put together, hopefully in sort of a kit form, put it in a nice little box and everything, and have it be a resource for our club. It was donated by one of our club members, and I was just trying to think about something that would not only be interesting for me personally to get into, and maybe make a video out of it, as we see here, but actually end up with a resource that hopefully the club could use, and club members could use and get some some utilization out of. So that's what we're going to take a quick look at. It's not going to be a real long video. We are hoping to use this a little bit here coming up in Winter Field Day in the comms trailer. But just have this resource, and it may take us a little bit of extra time to kind of finalize it as an actual standalone kit, but we've got it most of the way there right now. All right, folks, as we switch over to the build part of this section of the video, the first thing I started out with was a heatsink kit. these little boards don't ship with heat sinks to begin with typically, but plenty of kits have those, or you can get inexpensive little heatsink kits like this. 3 heat sinks and a little fan. And so I went ahead and got this. This is a solid copper set. There's extruded aluminum with longer fins and different things. I got this solid copper kit for the CPU, the memory, and I think it's the wireless on the back. Um, so we've got this. This will help with the cooling a little bit. It comes with thermal tape. If you really want to take the time and put on some actual grease compound, you could do that as well. I think this will help with these little units. I noticed running the SDR, which is kind of a full-time workload, it does get fairly warm, and it would tend to push the boundaries of the heat thermal throttling, which I think is about 80 degrees or 80 degrees Celsius. So I put all 3 of these on here, and I did find a way to use the fan a little bit later, as you'll see. I've got it temporarily mounted right now. We'll be looking to do a more permanent mount for that down the road, but this greatly helps, the fan especially greatly helps with the heat dissipation for the unit. All right, in the next segment here, folks, I wanted to go over a component that I purchased for this little project. And this is the most expensive part of this, at least so far, and that is this little touchscreen, 7-inch touchscreen HDMI monitor. So it has some little feet, some little stand feet, and you can mount the Raspberry Pi right to the back of this. And there's a number of these out there, different kits and things. There are definitely less expensive little monitors. You may even have some kind of a monitor if you're doing a project for yourself. Again, I wanted to keep this small, pretty low power, and kind of try to make it into a kit, at the end of the day, so that it can be put in a box and used by folks and transported and secured. So it was well packed. This was about $70, $75, somewhere in that range. Comes with a lot of cables and accessories. Some of them do, some of them don't. There's different sizes of cases and monitors and things, a little 5-inch and 7-inch and even bigger. But I went with this one. It had some pretty good ratings on Amazon. I usually do Amazon. I'll do stuff through eBay, and this is, or something similar to this, I'm sure is available on eBay. The main thing I tend to prefer about Amazon is the return policy is usually a little bit simpler, and shipping. You can usually get things a lot faster through Amazon. Not always, but usually. It's well packed. It looks like a well-made little unit, and it's working really great so far. Again, it comes with a whole bunch of accessories. You can see here all kinds of cables and things, and the little feet and the hardware. So pretty much everything you would need, power supply and everything else, HDMI cables and so forth. So this is the kit I decided to use. It is a little bit more expensive. There are cheaper routes to go, or again, you may even already have a monitor you want to use for something like this. But again, I wanted to make it low power and small and easy to pack and transportable. Seems like a good little kit so far. It's working great. You mount the Raspberry Pi right to the back. You can mount Pi Zeros, Pi 3s, probably even the Pi 4 if it has the excuse me, same mounting holes that the Pi 3 has here. Comes with the screws to mount it and to mount the feet. And so here I've mounted the board. Of course, we've already got the heat sinks on there that we saw earlier, and then you can start mounting cables and things. So you'll have a cable that connects the screen to the Pi, and then also a cable for power to the screen, and a cable for power for the Pi. So here we can see I've got the little feet screwed on. They just screw onto the bottom sort of ears of the PCB that the screen is mounted to, and we'll be setting it up and showing some testing as we get into wrapping up the final build of the project. So that'll be coming right up. All right, and one of the accessories I wanted to point out here is this little thin HDMI ribbon cable. This comes with this particular kit that I bought. It has, again, a bunch of different cables. You can see a couple more in the background there. But this little thin HDMI ribbon cable, we're going to put this on the board, as you'll see in just a second, and connect from the little LCD screen over to the Pi. So here we can see the back. And over on the right-hand side of the picture, you can see the little flat ribbon connector. With these, if you're not used to these, just take your time, slip the little thing in there, make sure you get it captured with the little black lever there. And then it comes over to the HDMI port on the board on the left-hand side. and plugs in pretty much like normal. And you can put kind of a right angle bend on that to get that in place, which we're going to see here in this next picture. Now the ribbon cable's in place. And these work really well for these situations. One of the few cables that is sort of perfect for the job for this. For some of these other cables, like the power cable you can see right there on the left, we're going to be getting some right angle connectors and things to kind of clean that stuff up, and some shorter cables to make it a little bit easier to deal with. All right, folks, I just wanted to show a quick picture here. I've got the fan mounted. Literally, I just put a little hot glue on the back edge of the HDMI connector and put it down. It's holding it okay. It's not a permanent type solution, but it does help a lot. I noticed that when running the SDR software, this is lowering the temperatures probably 20 degrees. It was running about 78, right on the edge of the thermal warning for the unit. Now it's running about 58, 59, somewhere in there. So it does make a big help. So we'll be doing some kind of a fan situation for this thing, but this is on there for now at least, and we'll do something a little bit more permanent down the road. And we'll wrap this up and just show you some examples of some of the recordings you were able to get. All right, so this is just a snapshot. This is an FM radio station I picked up, one of the local ones here in town. You can see, I think, with the screenshot, it was coming through very clearly, very strong signal, as we would expect from a commercial radio station. But due to copyright laws, I can't play the music that was playing, but you can see it was very strong signal, very clear, and the little unit was receiving it just fine.
Store not too far from us that sold radio equipment, and I paid for it. DX, this is November 1 Zulu Zulu. November 1 Zulu Zulu, calling DX, I'm standing by.
All right, so just to wrap it up, folks, this was a real fun little project. It was really fun to finally dive into the world of Raspberry Pi and these types of computing systems. There's tons of accessories and hardware that you can buy. This is a very tiny example of some of that stuff, even in the world of little touchscreens and things you can use with these. But it's a fun little project, and this will be something that we're going to put together and have as a kit and have for the club and the club members to use. So that'll be available to folks and to the club pretty soon. Again, we're going to do a simple little field test here in Winter Field Day coming up. So that'll wrap it up. This is Chris, KY4CKP for LCARA, Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association, 73.